Hello and welcome to the Turnbuckle Sessions. I am your host, Thomas Montalto, and joining me today is none other than Chad Smith from the Turnbuckle Tavern Flagship show. What's going on, Chad?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here again.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a fun episode today, looking back the year in review of AEW. Start back at the beginning of the year, see how things progressed, talk about the changes, the additions, and maybe talk a little about where we're going next year.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
let's this year we came into this year with the Elite story running strong. Kenny Omega was champion. The Young Bucks were tag team champions. You had Sheeta over as the women's champion, and TNT champion was Darby Allin. So things have changed since then. The Elite story was a great story. How do you feel about? Let's talk about that a little bit.
I think it was one of the stories of the year, honestly.
Yeah, I loved it.
Because we came into the new year really with like a lot of questions because the Forbidden Door had been open. Kenny took the title to Impact. He won the Impact title. Yeah, there was a lot of, you had Callis involved. You had the Good Brothers with the Young Bucks, Brandon Cutler, Nakamura, or not Nakazawa, always flip flop Nakamura,
I get it.
Nakazawa. Yeah, so I thought they were really entertaining. I thought a lot of people kind of came around to the Bucks that had never seen them as heels.
And I was one of them.
They were super entertaining. That whole faction
God.
was really one of the highlights of the year for me in AEW.
I mean, I love that faction. And how much do you think the contract, the working agreement with Impact, kind of hurt the Elite when we saw the Good Brothers go away? They kind of just vanished slowly. Like, do you think it was going to end there no matter what? Or do you think it would have had a longer run?
I mean, as far as the Good Brothers, I think they knew going in, they had a run in mind. I think there was like a very clear cut, okay, we're going to get however many months out of this. They'll be there through that time. I don't think the Good Brothers necessarily hurt the Elite that much. To me, what the Elite started kind of falling apart, I mean, within the story itself, but just for me, like they began to not be as entertaining as they were when the Bucks lost the titles at All Out. Like once they lost the titles, it was like the writing was on the wall that Kenny's going to lose his title soon.
Yeah.
Things are going away. Good Brothers weren't there anymore. Callis was gone for a long period of time until he showed up in that angle with Hangman.
Yeah, but right at the very end of that angle.
Yeah, it was at the very right. I think the go home show is when he showed up.
I think we only got 2 more weeks of him at the end of the year after his disappearance, and now he's off again. He's not with the Young Bucks anymore.
Yeah, but that's what made it so special early in the year and throughout the summer was Callis was coming out with the Bucks.
Yeah,
he was completely like Bobby Heenan of the Heenan family.
Yes.
He was with everyone. He was always talking for them. It just felt like a true, legit faction instead of just a bunch of individuals in a group together doing their own things.
Yeah, I can't wait to get him back on our TVs. If I guess we probably won't see that until Kenny's healthy and back and wrestling again.
Yeah.
But, we only saw. Okay, so Omega comes in as champ this year. He loses it to Hangman. Sheeta comes in, loses it to Britt Baker. We finally see Britt Baker get her title run, which well deserved. And the Young Bucks lose the titles to
Lucha Brothers.
So out of the championships, out of the 3 out of the 4 championships, there was only 1 title change for each of them. You go to the TNT championship, you get Darby to Miro.
Miro to Sammy to Cody.
Sammy to Cody. So we saw 4 title changes there. But it makes me love the championship so much more. But man, Britt Baker has really this was her year.
Oh yeah. I think she's kind of cooled off a little bit in the last couple months. And I think that's not so much on Britt as it is building up some true contenders for her. Because right now it just seems like she gets thrown into these quickly put together. There's not a lot of heat behind the feud. Yeah.
Yeah, like Chris Statlander, she had a match, and Ty Conti at the next pay per view.
Right, right.
But and again, you know what? And it keeps her fresh. Not seeing her
Yeah.
as focused all the time. I don't mind that at all.
It
But
it keeps her as more of an attraction, especially on Dynamite. Like when she wrestles, it's
yeah,
kind of special because she doesn't
yes,
wrestle a whole lot on Dynamite.
right. That's true. That's true. I mean, first pay per view of the year. You know, we start off the year, first half of the year in Daly's place, and
Yeah.
we get the Revolution pay per view. That's
Yeah.
the first pay per view of the year. A solid pay per view from top to bottom. The main event at that pay per view was the infamous exploding barbed
Explode.
wire death
Yeah.
match,
Yeah.
which they hit a snafu at the end, but super solid match right up into the end.
Yeah. The first year or the first quarter of the year, I feel like there was a little bit of critiquing going on that they couldn't seal the deal. Like the finishes were kind of like people complained about blood and guts with
Yeah,
Jericho taking the backdrop onto the crash pad.
yeah,
Then they complained about the exploding barbed wire death match with the where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be a kaboom, like, and there wasn't a kaboom. So, but I think they pulled themselves out of that. Like the
yes,
summer was when it's weird when you look at this year. I feel like this year isn't, we're recapping AEW, but I feel like this is one of the more important years in pro wrestling ever.
agreed.
This is like the year where we came out of the pandemic and not being able to have live shows, and then in the summertime we hit live shows. So, and it's kind of a tale of two halves of the year. That first half up until May, up until Double or Nothing, we're in the pandemic pretty much
Yeah,
full tilt, and then the Double or Nothing show was the turning point. That was when everything started to change, not just with crowds being there, but I feel like they had a lot of things in their back pocket they were waiting to pull out when the crowds were back. So when the crowds came back, we got Malachi, all of these crazy surprises week after week after week. So the summer to me was like one of the best summers of pro wrestling.
oh, I agree, and especially AEW has learned so much. Said Double or Nothing, the first pay per view with the crowd back, that was the rocket ship for AEW. I feel like that's when I was like, it became can't miss TV every single week. The whole summer leading into the fall. And then you had CM Punk. We
Yeah.
had the big announcement. There's going to be a rampage, the second rampage, the last dance or the first dance. It's going to
Yeah.
be in Chicago. I
It
drive
was
out to
announced
Chicago
late
for it.
too. It was
Just
announced
just
super late.
within weeks of
Yeah, a
within
couple
a
weeks.
couple of weeks, and they still sell out that building.
Yeah.
That mega building in a very very short period of time.
Yeah.
Just on a rumor that CM Punk is going to return.
Yeah. All it
All
was
because Darby Allin says,
Darby.
if you want to be the best in the world, that's the best place to prove it.
As soon
And all
as he
this,
said that, though, all the fans were like, "Oh, don't tease me like that." Don't, and then it happened. It's funny though, because like AEW by design has really made their summer is special. Because if you look at, when you were a kid, how did you know summer was here? For me, there was one way of knowing how summer was truly here. The pool's open, and the pool's always open on Memorial Day weekend.
yeah,
And then how's summer over? The pool's closed. The pool's always closed on Labor Day weekend. When are AEW's pay-per-views? Memorial Day weekend's Double or Nothing, Labor Day weekend's All Out. So in between those two events, it's just like, this is pro wrestling summertime. They have kind of like defined it in that way.
yeah. I mean, it was exciting. Let's talk about CM Punk a little bit. So we've seen his first. I would say it was September, October, I guess first 4.5 months now. What do you think of his return thus far? Has it been what you'd hoped it would be? Has it been less? Has it been more?
I think it's been what it's needed to be. I don't, I mean, every fan, like, is it what you've wanted it to be? No, you want him to come in, go against Omega, go against this. You're wanting to blow through it if you're just wanting what you want. But like, I don't think I don't think it's been bad. I think it's been exactly what it needed to be. I like him knocking the rust off before we get to those really big stories. I wouldn't have wanted to see him thrown into a Kenny Omega program in his first match. He's not ready for that.
Right.
And we've seen him kind of give the shine to all these younger guys, so it's made sense to me of how they're handling him. And it's exciting too, because him and Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole all came in around the same time.
Within a couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the one guy they've really pushed into that top spot fast was Danielson. And they've kind of kept Punk and Cole kind of a little bit on the back burner, which excites me because now I'm like, Cole and Adam Cole and CM Punk are still there to do huge things with. So that's exciting for the future.
You don't want to shoot your whole load at once.
No.
You know, you have nothing to look forward to then, just like you said. I agree. I loved how Punk started off in those matches against, you know, some younger guys and kicking the rust off, but giving them a little push at the same time. But I also love that at the same time, now in this program with MJF, he's calling them out. MJF is calling Punk out for these matches.
Yeah.
And telling him, you could barely beat QT Marshall and you expect to beat me. Like, I love that AEW doesn't ignore that fact.
Exactly.
They actually use it. And that's, you know, to me, you're respecting your fans when you do that. Because a lot of companies disrespect their fans and just, it's terrible.
No, you totally are. And you're also, I think it's an interesting wrinkle to the CM Punk character that he gets why MJF's saying that. Yeah. He's not just coming in and being a world beater. His not only in you know, the shoot world where he's having to get his bearings about him in the wrestling ring again, but kayfabe, that's part of his character, is trying to find that old fire and he's the Terry Funk old man in ECW, in AEW, trying to fight with these young guys and they're pushing him to his limit. And he finds the will to win. I love that aspect of the CM Punk return.
I do too.
I love it.
And I can't wait to see when he finally gets that match with MJF. And I kind of like the fact that they've kind of put it off for now.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be too long before we see it, you know, pick back up. But I just love the way they played it out and they're not giving us the payoff too soon.
I love that they didn't have them touch in that tag match.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to the wrap-up show with me and Mike, I am so frustrated when they did that, you know, trios match. And I'm like, but the only way I'll love it is if they don't touch each other. And then they have the match and they never touch each other.
And they
play it off perfectly.
Yeah, they went as far as to have MJF actually running from him.
Running up the ramp.
Yeah.
Coming down the other side. It worked out perfectly. And then I love at the end, MJF is saying Punk ran from him. So,
exactly. So, he turns it.
They play it perfectly. They absolutely played it perfectly. Okay, so let's talk about Bryan Danielson. You know, he comes next the same night as Adam Cole. One of the greatest nights, one of the best pay-per-views I've ever witnessed in my life. We get a double debut to end the show.
Yeah, I mean, that was about as good as it could get.
I mean, you'll know you were there. I mean, I was at home going nuts.
Everyone was expecting Danielson, and me and Sneed there was these guys sitting near us and they kept chanting Danielson. And me and Sneed were like, it's going to be Adam Cole. It's going to be Adam Cole. And when Adam Cole's, we thought they were saving Danielson for the Arthur Ashe show.
Yeah.
And we were like, they'll do Adam Cole here because he just became a free agent. Like, it's more shocking. Yeah. So when Adam Cole came out, me and Sneed are like fist bumping, like, I knew it. And then the lights went out again. We're like, they're going to fucking pull the trigger on both of these dudes. And the roof came off the place. Anyone who's been there has talked about that. People who weren't there but watched it have talked about it. It's one of the most iconic moments of the year.
Yeah. And then, you know, Bryanson, to me, he's on a run of a lifetime for anybody, not just even him. It's just been pure, I don't know what the word is, fun since he's been there. And then when he comes out against Hangman after Hangman wins the belt and he wins the tournament, we get this little heel turn. That was done so smoothly in one promo. You know, he came out as a face, even though he got booed, and he just quickly turned it around.
And it was
And to
such a
me,
subtle move.
it was
It was
so,
so
so,
it was like he barely turned the steering wheel. You know what I mean? But it
yeah, yeah,
slowly veering over to like it came so effortlessly to this guy to just flip the crowd. And then what was so impressive is how much they were excited to have him in this company. And he played them like a fiddle. Like he just barely changed his character and then boom, they're booing him. It
yeah.
was mastery, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first line that kind of did it was, I was kind of hoping it would still be Kenny
Oh yeah.
in
And that
Virginia.
and that turn that's all he needed.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
his string of matches, I think, is the best booked string of matches in wrestling this year.
Yes.
Easy. His
I don't
matches have
think.
been phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. From his first match with Omega, and then the way he kicked in the heads of the Dark Order, getting to Hangman.
That was awesome. Every
That
single
match with
person in a hometown, pretty much.
yes, the way that happened to fall. Like I don't know if that was really booked or it just happened to work out that well.
I
But
feel like that it was probably like the Undertaker streak, like the first one where like I don't think they lined the towns up for the
yeah,
story, but I
it
think
just
it's like,
happened to
oh
fall.
shit. And then we have members for each place we're about to be. And I think they did it because that is okay. He effortlessly changes into a heel, but he has the perfect roadmap in front of him where he goes to this person's hometown where their hometown people are going to be cheering for him and shits on Colt Cabana. Then he goes to Atlanta, shits on Allen Angels. Then he get, like he has that built-in uh he is the Bret Hart in America during Bret Hart's Canadian hero heel turn.
Yes.
He's that guy 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row leading up to Hangman, and it just built this heel steam behind him so effortlessly. I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm so looking forward to the rematch this week tonight. Say it's
Mhm.
tonight when you're listening to
Yeah,
this.
tonight.
Which way do you think this is going?
There in the beginning when week or so ago, I was like, okay, they're going to give it to Hangman, no question. And I still think Hangman will probably win. He should win. But then there was a part of me, it's like, first TBS show. Do they want to shock you and give it? I just don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll do that to Hangman. But if it were to happen, I don't. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be like shocked by it.
Okay. I was having this conversation with Mike Belcaster the other day, and I think I'm guessing they're going to give it to Brian Danielson.
You
Because
think
listen
so?
to this, he liked my reasoning. Tell me what you think of my reasoning.
Okay.
Okay. They've already avoided the fact that he won't be a one match and done because he had that awesome 1 hour draw.
Right.
Okay. So you have the opportunity here to put the belt on a name, going on to a new station, a name that's worldwide known. Okay. And you have Hangman lose. But at the same point, you now have Hangman set up to be the first 2-time homegrown talent. He's the first 2-time champion, and it's a homegrown talent.
And you put him
And
in the chase mode where
in
he's
the chase
chasing him
mode,
again.
and he still comes the first guy to cleanly beat Bryan and doing it.
Then you could get an Omega run, an Omega against Danielson again, but have Danielson beat Omega this time and
Yep.
retain the title. And Hangman has to come back around to beat, and he's the one that dethrones him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that. I
Yeah,
wouldn't hate that.
it could be a fun program if done. And again, I think it puts Hangman over that much more. To be the first 2-time champion, to be the guy that finally beat. If you have Omega come back and he can't beat Danielson, but then Hangman can.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good
Yeah.
story. I think it's a
It
good story.
is. I think it makes sense that any company, you go to a new channel, if you want to kind of plan a successful lay out a successful map to draw in as many people as you can when you're changing networks. I think throwing it on the more popular wrestler, which is obviously Bryan Danielson in the eyes of the public, he was Daniel Bryan for years. I think that makes sense. But I also think Tony Khan has kind of one of those mentalities of Hangman's, we just put it on him. He's our guy. By having him beat Danielson on that first episode, that establishes him like right out of the gate. So I don't know, man. I
One
think
of the
it's a
things I love
toss-up.
about it is we really going into this match not having a clue. It's just going to be fun to watch because it can go either way.
Yeah.
It really can. And either way is not really wrong. In my
No,
opinion.
either. That's what's interesting to me is like, okay, so say Hangman does win. What's next for Bryan Danielson?
Yeah.
And who steps up for Hangman? If it's me, like if it's me, I don't know what I would do with Danielson, but if it's me, Hangman beats Danielson clean, and then out of nowhere, paradigm shift, Moxley takes out Hangman as a heel, comes back as a heel, and comes after Hangman. Mox versus Hangman at Double or Nothing type of thing.
That would be fun too. I mean,
that'd be really fun.
You wouldn't have me complaining about that one. I would love to see that happen.
I'd love to see that.
Wow.
I just want to see a heel Moxley in AEW.
Yeah, we were on the verge of seeing it before he went out.
Yeah, he was turning.
So let's talk a little bit about Adam Cole's run and leading up to, I guess, the reunion of the Undisputed Era or whatever. I don't know if they really have a name yet. People say Adam Cole wasn't booked the way they hoped. But again, I'm with you. He's so young into this new contract and into this company. Relax, people. The guy is so young. He's going to be here long after Bryanson and Punk are gone.
Yeah, he's having it does come across like he's joined up with his buddies, the Young Bucks, and they've been having fun doing 6-man tags and stuff like that, which is fine. Because if out of all three of those guys, the guys you want to push quicker is Punk and Danielson.
Yes.
Adam Cole's 32. He's healthy, never had a major injury. I feel like that's the guy you have all the time in the world to do something with. So don't rush him. And now it kind of makes sense. Like, sure, it's been 4 months, four plus months since he entered the company, but him establishing being buddies and goofing off with the Young Bucks have now all led to this point where his more serious friends from the other company have now arrived. So is he going to kind of align himself with the goofy Bucks or with the killers in Fish and O'Reilly? So I think this could be a really fun story. And I feel like all of the friendship building with him and the Bucks have led to this moment.
Yes. And then we also have to look forward to the little tease we had of Omega and Cole right before Omega announced he was leaving.
That could be a thing too. We get Omega and the Bucks going up against Adam Cole and Red Dragon.
I think I said it to Mike Belcaster. Can you imagine Blood and Guts 2, the Undisputed Era against the Bucks and Omega and whoever their partners may be?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He liked that idea. I was like, you listen, they made it fun. They went in every War Games and NXT up until the last one and they were gone.
Seems like it writes itself to me.
It writes itself, man. That could be an amazing Blood and Guts match. So I don't know who the partners would be.
They had that epic cage match with the Lucha Brothers. So imagine them in a Blood and Guts match.
Yeah. The ideas are endless. Talk about another guy who made his debut. The guy who I feel, honestly, if you want to talk about a guy who was booked wrong this year, I wouldn't know if I'd say booked wrong, but not booked super as strong as he should be, maybe, is Andrade. Because he seems like he's the scapegoat at taking pins when he deserves a little better than what he's gotten.
Yeah, they've done a little bit more with him lately, but man, it took a minute for them to get going with him. And that was someone I'm like, why are you waiting on him? Just throw him in. Because I think his first match Pac.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he had a match before that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Good matches, but I'm dying to see him in like a feud, like a legit feud.
His own feud, like the whole thing with Cody, and then he got thrown in with Malachi, and he
Right.
takes the pin there. I just
Right.
felt like that was kind of unnecessary at that point.
No, and he's
Pac,
good.
they
He's
should have put
great.
Malachi and Andrade over. I thought in that one match. That was
Yeah.
one match I was just really disappointed in the outcome, and that was at the last pay per view.
I think all of those disappointments like that though are going. It's not about building Andrade and Malachi in that. It's about what they're doing with Cody Rhodes.
Yes, that's
Like
true.
those type of moments are those are the little tiny building blocks that have turned into these showers of booze. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's those little things. Like each week you get a little like Cody won again, and then the
Mm-hmm.
next week, oh Cody came out and gave it a patriotic speech. Oh, Brandy came out and said this. Like all of those little things are just building fans to boo him more and more and more. So
Not to pat myself on the back, but I think I was the first guy to come out and pointed out Cody's a heel already. All of a
oh
sudden we're
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
shirts. Cody comes out with the shirt, face
Yep.
heel, winner. Like he's doing. I am here for this story with Cody. Like people are hating on him. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything he's doing right now. This is the most I've ever loved Cody. He comes out to Sammy. He's like, "We're two good guys." Like
Oh
like
yeah.
I
It
love
was great.
everything he's doing. I love the way he's playing to the crowd. This is perfect. This is like we've talked about this before. This is leading to something big.
Big,
Um,
big,
I don't think,
big, big.
even getting Dan Lambert in it now, like everybody's just there to support building up this story with Cody.
And I don't know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
because he had that quote like last week where he said, I appreciate the fans that boo me, and I appreciate the fans that cheer me because they're both about to go on a very bizarre ride, something that's never been done before, or it's not what you think it is, and it's never been done before. So I'm
I'm
like,
here.
that leads me to believe, which we've talked about on the flagship show, you and Mike, I'm sure have talked about it on the wrap up show. It's like, that just leads me to believe that it's not going to be Cody just turning on Arn or turning
Right.
on someone and, oh, he's a heel now. He turned on somebody. Ta-da. Like something bigger is at play.
Yeah.
And my prediction is when we're at the beginning of 2023, the big story of 2022 will be Cody Rhodes. I don't know
I
what
agree.
it's going to be, but it's going to be one of the biggest stories of 2022.
Yeah, I agree. I'm here for it too. I love what he's doing right now. It's the most entertaining Cody's ever been.
Yeah, and I
He's
think do you think this guy's just going to sit back and not try to plan some massive thing to put him in the category of the Punks, Daniel Bryan's, Kenny Omega's, the people that are getting all the attention right now from all the fans, and essentially Cody has dropped to be a mid-carder.
yeah.
Now, with him having such a stake in this company and him being a creative thinking guy as far as like into those type of stories, do you think he's not planning a big long-term story for himself? Because let's face it, he's not going to compete with the Omegas and Danielsons when it comes to in-ring matches, like work rate matches.
Yep.
So the way he can compete and put himself up in this company is by creating some legendary, memorable story. And I think that's what he's going to do, is a big, interesting wrestling story.
And you talk about a guy with a great wrestling mind. He went out and built himself up when he left WWE on the Indies. That led to AEW essentially. Like
Yeah.
realistically, if he doesn't leave WWE, there's a chance we might not even have AEW today.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
So, so it's going to be fun to see. So look, we alluded to it earlier about building up the women's division, but what a difference between January and December in the women's division in AEW. in the beginning of the year, we were questioning, like, what are they doing? When are they going to start to do anything with it? And here we are now at the end of the year, and they've built, by doing it slowly, it looked like they didn't care about the women's division, but I think they let it simmer. And now we have Ty Conti, who's on top of her game. We've got, Ruby Soho's now here. She jumped ship. We've got so many, strong women now and other feuds.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say is, it's all good that we have the Thunder Roses now, and we have the Rubies and the Jades and all this new influx of talent 2022 brought. But to me, the more important thing is there's multiple feuds and storylines going on in the women's division outside of just the title.
Yeah.
Like you've got Britt and the title and whoever she's facing. You had for weeks, we had Ty, Anna Jay against Bunny and Penelope. They just put on a banger in that crazy bloody street fight. Then you've got Serena Deeb and Sheeta, which is a very underrated feud. I agree. Feud.
I love Deeb.
And even like you have Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander kind of feuding.
They have their own little.
There's multiple Jaden. I forgot Jaden Thunder Rosa Jaden Ruby and Thunder Rosa. That kind of
There's a whole bunch of different stories.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot.
They built up Jade nice and slow too, as she's working on her craft to get better in the ring, which she has, and she still has ways to go. And it helps her as having a mouthpiece like Smart Mark.
Yeah, and you can't. That's why when everyone was like giving the division shit, especially in like 2020 and when they very first started in 2019, like, dude, the women available on free agency when they created this company wasn't all the big names were signed up.
Yeah.
They had to kind of build from nothing. Yep. So you had to give them time. And it's against your good business sense to just put some of these women in top tier Dynamite situations when you had other more seasoned people to put in those situations. Because you're a young company, you have to put on TV what is going to draw eyes.
Yes.
And if you throw in 2019 Penelope Ford against Big Swole or whoever, it's not going to draw a rating versus someone that the crowd knows.
Yes.
It's just not. I mean, that's just business. There's nothing beyond it than that. And I know in the beginning they only had like one women's match and we wanted more. I feel like we've got a little more as times went on, as they've got more seasoned. But I don't want AEW Dynamite to be NXT 2.0, where you have people out there that are learning
on TV.
I don't want to see that on TV. When you're on TV, you need to be up to speed. Yep. I don't want to watch developmental. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm definitely there with you too. Who do you think the next tag team champions are? We had saw some crazy tag team matches this year with the steel cage match with the belts changing hand.
If there's any title I see changing more than any other on tonight, it's Jurassic Express taking the belts off of Lucha Brothers.
Wow. I wonder.
I think that might happen.
Okay, that'll be interesting. And it's so curious because then Saturday we have the Night of the Champions, or fight for what's it called? Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, Battle of the Belts.
So we're going to be seeing a bunch of matches. It's going to be very interesting. Can Brian actually win tonight? And is there a rematch already Saturday?
Or I don't know. And is Lucha Brothers facing Jurassic Express tonight or Battle of the Belts?
I think Battle of the Belts.
Okay, if it's Battle of the Belts, then that's what I meant. But I can't. There's so many events right now. I can't keep.
Yeah, I know. They're all kind of blending together.
So if they don't pull I think the next team that should hold the belts is Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely deserve a run.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see them get a run. They're definitely next in line. I got to agree with you there. Who are you most looking for? Who do you want to see have a breakout year next year?
As far as anyone like have a big year?
Anyone. Yeah. I know one guy I'm super excited for.
The one person I would like to be thrust into a legit top tier storyline going after the title, Malachi Black.
Yeah, I
I
love
want
Malachi.
I want a Malachi Black Hangman Page feud. I think it would, if you want to turn Malachi bad, like fans are still kind of cheering for him because he's such a cool dude and they're
Yeah,
happy to have him here.
that would do it.
Throw him in with Hangman. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Have the House of Black with Brody King if he shows up attacking Hangman, like draw it out for 3 or 4 months leading up to a pay-per-view. I would be all about that. I'd love to
Yeah,
see Malachi.
you
Have a
know I
great
love
guy here.
Malachi. I can't wait to see where this House of Black thing goes. He's making it sound like we're gonna see some new members of the House of Black relatively soon.
Yeah.
But the guy who I
Maybe
want to
tonight. Maybe tonight.
maybe tonight, it'd be
Maybe
something's
tonight.
gonna happen tonight between tonight and Saturday. I expect we're gonna see
There's
a
gonna be
lot
some
of things set in
surprises.
course for the next year.
Yeah.
But the guy who I want to see get a nice singles run, who I absolutely love, is Ethan Page.
I knew you were gonna say that. I know you're high on Ethan Page. I am too, but dude, I I wish him and Scorpio both would step up. I like Dan Lambert being with him.
Yeah.
I wish he could get a little bit of that heat off of Lambert. Like some of the things that Lambert are saying, let him say that stuff too.
Yeah, he's so good at being a heel. When you watch his, I don't know if you ever watch his vlogs.
Oh
He
yeah.
seems like the nicest guy in the world. And then
Yeah.
when you see him on Dynamite, it's like, wow, he could play a dick so fucking good. Like he could be
Dude,
so hateable.
he's great. When he was in Impact with the North with Josh Alexander, that tag team was so good. It was like a version of FTR, like a Canadian version of FTR, but with Ethan Page being a total douche.
And he's still so young too, so they still have time with him.
Yeah.
Like, he has a look. I for sure see him being a top of the singles.
He's a big guy too. He looks,
Yeah.
he's a big bodied guy.
Yes.
I think he looks like he could be a main event guy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He's got the look. He's got everything about it.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play the face. I don't know. Was he a face or a heel in Impact?
I think at one point they may have been maybe a little baby face, but he's kind of one of those like tried and true heels. Like he does his best work as a heel, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see him get involved with some MJFs. You talking about MJF? The guy quietly. Well, I shouldn't say quietly. First of all, underrated worker. I don't know if he gets enough credit for how good he is in the ring. And we really got to see that showcase when he fought Darby to kick off the last pay-per-view. Just that match blew me away, and it set the tone for the rest of the pay-per-view. And I was like, how the hell are they going to top the rest of this show after seeing that match? That was a hard-hitting.
MJF is good. The people that say he's only good on the mic and he's okay in the ring, I don't know what the fuck you're watching, man.
No.
I think every time, even in the matches that he has that aren't like these barn burners,
right,
he's really good at just basic storytelling.
Yeah,
which I enjoy.
Exactly. He's so good at what he does, at everything he does. Yeah. And no matter what it needs to be, he gets it done.
I have a theory. This is looking ahead, not so much recapping the year, but I have a theory that we keep hearing him reference the bidding war of 2024.
Okay.
I have a feeling in 2024 he will be world champion.
That makes sense.
I think he's leading. He's using that I'm going to go to WWE as kind of a way to get more heat, because that just pisses AEW fans off to hear him talk like that.
Yeah. So
he's getting heat from it. But I think that's around the time he's due for a world title.
Makes sense.
I mean, I don't think you give it to him in the next two. Because if you think of how long their champions hold belts.
Yeah, it's a year.
It's basically a year. We'll probably, in 2022, we'll probably get Hangman and one other guy, whoever that other guy is going to be. And that other guy should not be MJF, in my opinion.
Not this year. I agree with that.
And then 2023, you've got Punk hanging out there. You've got Danielson who could be champ. You've got Adam Cole who could be champ. You've got any of the prior champs who could hold it again, Moxley, Hangman. If you can get through the next 2 years in good story without giving it to MJF, and then boom, his contract year comes up and he is the world's biggest prick heel. I
love it.
Imagine him as a heel with the world championship. It's going to be television gold.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I love the beginning of the feud we saw with him and Darby. I think that feud is just something we're going to see continued over the next 10 to 15, as long as wrestling is around. Those two are going to have a history, because it's going to be Flair and Sting all over again.
I think the pillars are going to be like that.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy, Sammy, Darby, and MJF. I think we're going to see iterations of all four of them feuding for years and years to come.
I'm here for it too, because they've built more young guys since they've debuted than WWE has done in the last 10 years.
I think you can throw Hook in there. I think you can throw Hobbs in there. Those type of guys. Hangman, obviously, he's in there, but he's already at the top. But
yeah,
all of those dudes are going to be. I think Hobbs is highly underrated. The more and more I see of Hobbs, like he works like Big Van Vader meets Mark Henry meets. He's such a good big man to be a young guy like that.
Wow, that's a great call. I didn't even think of that. And Hook is just a special breed.
He's TikTok on AEW. He's got the TikTok generation, man.
So good. So for his age,
super popular.
Can you imagine what he's going to be just 5 years from now, seeing what he is now?
Yeah.
Can you? I'm here for that.
Yeah, I can't wait, man.
And that one picture you sent of Taz applauding his son when he was walking, that was like
so good.
It's like a special moment, just to see the proud father watching his kid going to make his debut, and that was real. I'm there for that all day long.
I love how they call him the handsome devil. Yeah. Like the dude looks like he's off the CW, or he's some like influencer on Instagram. Like he is. If they handle that kid right, which Tony Khan came out and said that's why they bought the rights to an Action Bronson song as his entrance theme, because Tony Khan sees big things with him.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
The response he's gotten from the fans already is kind of crazy.
I love how he does the choke like his dad.
Yeah.
Instead of it being the Taz Mission, it's called Red Rum. I love that.
Yeah. I'm here for that. What any other highlights for 2021 that we're missing?
Man, there's so many things. Like there's
we missed a Britt Baker Thunder Rosa lights out match.
Incredible. It was that was on St. Patty's Day, I believe.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. And
March 17th.
Yep. And
St. Patrick's Day Slam.
Yep, that's it. And then another big thing, we kind of touched on Malachi, but his entrance. That was the biggest shocker to me.
Yes.
That was the biggest shocker, where no one saw it coming, because we thought he had a 90-day non-compete. And it was 30 days.
30 days.
Boom.
Dude, I don't remember. Like I just, that was the biggest shock I've seen in, I can't even tell you how long, because I jumped off my couch. I literally flew off my couch, and my wife's like, "What?" And I'm like, "He's got a non-compete. This can't be happening." And I love, as a wrestling fan, being there for those moments. Like that's what I love.
Those are the moments you live for, man.
And just talking about it, you get that feeling all over again.
Yeah, because we track all of this shit so closely. So when they can trick a hardcore fan, that's the shit that, like Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, we didn't know when they were going to show up.
Yeah.
But we knew most likely this is what's going to happen. With CM Punk, they kind of best kept secret, or worst kept secret.
Yeah.
They were purposely putting it out there, so we all kind of knew. But with Malachi, there was we had no clue that he could show up when he did. So it made it very, very special. One thing, I haven't brought this up, but I've been thinking about it lately. And I don't know if you'll even remember this. Remember when Shaq did the mixed tag? It was Shaq and Jade against Red Velvet and Cody.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of that match, if you remember, something very weird happened. they take, remember, Shaq gets power bombed through a table, I believe,
Yeah.
or something through a table, like falls through a table.
Yeah, off the end of the ring.
Yeah.
Off to the ring.
So they take him to an ambulance and they put him in the back of the ambulance. And then someone, I can't remember who, opens the ambulance door and he's gone. And there was no time in between it. It was like he disappeared. And it was a big thing on Twitter, like, what, it almost ended with a what happened to Shaq. Everyone was wondering, because he was in the ambulance, then they opened it back up, he's gone. There's never been anything, it's like that happened and they just went away from it. Like the great mystery of what happened to Shaq in the ambulance. I keep wondering about that. Like, what was that? Was that a fuck up? Are they going to call that back? Like, what is that?
It'll be
Do you
called
remember
back.
that?
I do remember that now that you say it. I would think eventually Tony Khan doesn't seem to let things happen by accident. And even when stuff like that does happen by accident, he incorporates it.
Yeah, you
into
got
a
to do
future
something
story.
with it. It was so long
So-
ago. I'm like, man, that was like an angle that never went anywhere. Like, why did they have him kind of disappear from the back of that
Yeah,
ambulance?
that's a great question.
Very weird.
You know, come next year when we do the AEW recap show for the year, maybe we'll have an answer by then.
Yeah, when we find out that Malachi put a spell on him and they go some like Undertaker Ministry of Darkness type storyline. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything that we haven't touched on. Like I said, I've been here for it. I've totally switched teams. I'm AEW all the way
This
now.
is the year of your switch. This is when
Yeah,
you took
this
off
is
one
100%.
jersey and put the other jersey on.
I absolutely became a free agent and signed over. I just couldn't take it anymore, and it's just so funny. It's thanks to you guys.
Yeah, watch your wrestling, man. Whatever you like. That's
Yeah,
my
like I
thing.
said, I
Whatever you
still
like.
watch it, but I feel forced to watch it. I mean, this
I
stuff
still
that I
keep up with
enjoy a
it,
little
too.
bit. This stuff I enjoy a little bit, but like
I love
thoroughly,
Brock. I'm a big Brock fan.
I love this Brock. This Brock is fun. Like if you knew he had the charisma that he's showing and the abilities to do what he's done on a mic lately, why haven't you taken advantage of that sooner? I don't get that.
I'm gonna throw out just I want to stir the pot a little bit here because
All
everyone's like, oh, Roman's the best. Roman's the best wrestler. Roman's this. Roman's that. Roman's not even the best in his company.
That's what I've said.
The biggest star in that company for me is Brock Lesnar. The biggest money draw that they have on their current roster is Brock Lesnar. The biggest pop they have when he beat Big E, crowd favorite Big E, in the center of the ring at day one, that crowd popped huge. It was the loudest pop of the night was for Lesnar beating Big E. Big E.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
we've
crazy.
talked about it ourselves about, hey, who's that next guy that could be the big face of the company? And I don't think we saw Brock having this connection to the fans. And he does that scream. The fans are going crazy now.
I mean, Roman's definitely, he's the guy. I know he's their guy. He's their new guy. But to me, if you want to talk about the biggest star in pro wrestling, that is like, I think if you go to some tiny town in anywhere USA, most people will know Brock Lesnar before they know Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Just on eye test.
Yeah. And face Brock, fun, fit, good guy Brock Lesnar is just a lot of fun.
Dude,
and he's getting the crowd pumped.
He looks like a pro wrestler.
He does look like he looks like the guy Vince wants to be his champion. Hence,
yeah,
he's the champion. And I could only hope that him being inserted into that match and winning the title maybe leads to him versus Roman at Mania for a unification of the titles.
I don't think that's happening.
WWE starts to.
They're not going to unify those belts.
Oh, I hope so. That'll give me more interest. That's part of what takes my interest away from that company or the belt.
They'll never I don't think we're ever going to see a brand split end.
I mean, that's why I love AEW. The belts mean something. That's seriously one of the reasons that, I'm more interested in it. The belts mean so much more there than they do in WWE. We're getting a TBS Women's Champion. Was they thrilled about it? No, but I trust the process and what Tony's
I
doing.
trust the process
I think it'll
because
be
they haven't
okay.
screwed it up yet as far as the
Right.
belts go. Like
100%. And now their women's division is big enough that they can support 2 titles.
I even
It
like
seems
Cody
like.
holding the TNT belt 3 times.
Dude, I loved it.
I think for
Ooh.
what they're wanting to do with him, whatever they've got planned, it makes sense to me.
It played perfectly into the story. Like, they're not gonna put on him again. I'm gonna hate him if they put it on him again.
Right.
He's not gonna do that. He's gonna put himself over again, and he does, and it's genius, and I'm there for it.
They haven't taken the fans for granted yet in the way they book their title matches. And the
Yes.
only way I can, like, for me personally, when title changes happen in AEW, it seems like a big deal.
Yes.
Even if it's just even if it's just Cody beating him on Rampage or whatever for the title, it still felt like a big deal. A
And you
title
have Jim
change feels
Crockett handing
important.
him the title to
Yeah.
make it even a little bigger moment. You know, it's a name that means something if he's handing you a title.
Like when Hangman won and he beat Omega, it felt huge. When
Yep.
Moxley beat Chris Jericho for the world title, it felt huge.
Yep.
When Omega screwed Moxley over and Callis with the belt and all that, it felt huge. It felt like a big fucking betrayal.
I might say that's the moment that actually fully captured me into AEW.
Really?
Yeah, I remember watching it that night, and I was like, "This is great! Oh my god!"
Yeah, that's when the night Sting came back. Was the
Yeah.
same night. Yeah,
Yeah. So
that was a big
all right.
night.
Any last minute thoughts on the year? Anything you didn't like, or anything we missed?
I mean, I could nitpick a bunch of things I didn't really care for, but I think overall it was a good year. Overall,
It
I
was
think it's one of
definitely
not
a
just
growing
AEW
year.
for pro
Yeah.
wrestling.
Oh,
I
for
think
pro
it was a
wrestling,
very
100%.
historical year. Having, you know, I was at Double or Nothing. I was at All Out. So for me personally, it was a big year to be at those two. I feel like those are 2 landmark events. All Out being an event that was
100%.
just booked possibly as it could be the best pay-per-view of the year. And then Double or Nothing for me, there felt like a historical significance there. It was the first time fans were back in a sold out arena. Like it felt bigger than just the show itself. It felt like we were all experiencing coming out of this, you know, like just cabin fever, and everyone wanted to party and be together and be happy. So it felt like almost like a cultural moment beyond wrestling to have everyone together and doing something we all enjoyed. So I love Double or Nothing and All Out. And I think I'm just going to stick with that and not nitpick shit on the recap.
Again, the things that I find I could pick on are just nitpicking. It's nothing serious. So I'm the same way with you. I feel the same exact way. When there's something I don't like, I like, that's really nitpicking, because if that's the worst thing, if that's the thing that bothers me, I'm in a pretty good place right now.
Oh yeah,
to be enjoying this. So
if you want to hear me nitpick, tune into the Thursday flagship show. We nitpick every segment.
Yes,
but for a review, there was infinitely more good than bad.
100%.
So it was a great year.
And like you, me getting to be there and experience Punk's return in person.
It was a historical year for the tavern. We were in a lot of places experiencing a lot of cool
and this year
moments.
My goal for the tavern is that all of us get together at one of the events before the end of the year.
Yes.
That we're going to make happen this year.
Yes.
Hopefully what is it?
Nothing.
Double or Nothing sounds like the perfect timing. For
Vegas.
Me.
I mean,
sounds like the perfect timing for me, man.
Yeah.
Let's be leaning towards Double.
Let's make that happen.
Sounds good to me. Chad, thanks so much for joining us.
Dude, always a good time, man. I love coming on sessions. Anytime you need me on, I'm here.
Oh, man, we love having you. Guys, if you're not following yet, go to the turnbuckletavern.com. You'll get all of our links. Follow us everywhere. Our TikTok is exploding. We're over 1,000 followers now. You never know when we're going to go live. We could go live on there now.
Yeah.
We might just come on there and chat with you. So, pay attention to that. Go to follow us on Instagram. Go to Twitch. Check out our Twitch. All the links are up on theturnbuckletavern.com. Buy a t-shirt. You could get a Turnbuckle Sessions t-shirt over on prowrestlingtees.com, OG Fit Kid shirt. So many things for you to do. Go check it out. And until next week, this is the OG Fit Kid. Love, peace, and pro wrestling.